So unlike the IWC, I am actually man enough to admit when I have made a major mistake in my casual wrestling watching career. And in order to be nicknamed the casual connoisseur like I am, you have to be able to see your faults. You have to be able to see the negatives. You have to be able to correct the way you think. You have to be able to recognize when you've taken things for granted. And so I think it's only right that on this day, I am man enough to speak into existence an apology to a man named Randy Orton. Now, I've watched Randy Orton possibly more than any other superstar in my lifetime. From the times I've watched wrestling, he's probably been on the television more than anybody else. And at every point that I've been very focused on professional wrestling, I don't think I've ever excessively liked or disliked Randy Orton. And as a matter of fact, I think it would be very fair to say that I've even been dismissive of the career of Randy Orton. From him being the legend killer, I didn't pay that much attention. To Legacy, I didn't pay that much attention. Evolution, I never really paid that much attention. And when I started watching again in the years around 2009, 2010, I attended WrestleMania 27 in Atlanta. I'll admit, I had to look up for this podcast who he wrestled. It was CM Punk. I don't remember it. I was there. I went to WrestleMania 28 in Miami. I had to look up once again that he faced off against Kane. I don't remember it. I was there. I went to WrestleMania 29 in New York and didn't remember that he wrestled against The Shield with Sheamus and The Big Show. I was there. I don't remember it. Now, I will honestly say I went to WrestleMania 30 with Lauren. This was the first one that we went to together. We drove our ass all the way to New Orleans. I do remember that the main event featured Batista, Randy Orton, and Daniel Bryan, but I paid zero attention to Randy Orton as a champion. I was only there to cheer on Daniel Bryan. And it's never meant to be disrespectful. I've always been cognizant of Randy Orton's skill level and how good he is in the ring. He's just never been somebody that I've gravitated to as a fan. And so I went back last night and I rewatched each one of those WrestleMania matches, and I was just kind of shocked and amazed that I didn't have recollection of these. These were phenomenal matches. I could remember certain little moments of hitting RKOs, and RKO is actually my favorite finisher of all time, which is fucking hilarious. But he just never had the same impact on me that Jericho or CM Punk had. So let's fast forward to today. Randy Orton returns at Survivor Series, and even in that moment when he returned, there were a lot of people who understood and could feel the magnitude of that moment. This is Randy Orton returning. To me, it just wasn't that big of a deal. I sat disappointed at the end of Survivor Series when I thought CM Punk wasn't coming back. And while I tried to mask it with at least we got Randy, deep down inside, I wasn't that excited saying that Randy Orton has come back. But over the last couple of weeks, I don't know what it is. A switch has flipped. It was like the idiot in me just turned off. And I caught myself saying things watching Randy Orton like, damn, I didn't know he was that big. Damn, I didn't know he was that smooth in the ring. I didn't know he had this level of intensity. What have I been watching? Even though I probably did know these things, I just caught myself not cognizant of how good he was in the ring. And I caught myself even saying, man, it looks like Randy Orton really loves wrestling and he really loves WWE, as if somehow deep down inside at some point I assumed that Randy Orton didn't love wrestling, that he was only there for a paycheck. I saw Randy Orton say he wants to wrestle for 10 more years. He wants to wrestle for 10 more years in a business where guys are constantly 1 foot out the door. This is absolutely something that speaks to a person like Nerdy D. This is something I love to hear, but once again, for some reason, it just never resonated with me until right now. And I have realized in the present right now that I've missed so much that I was present for. I was actually at. I saw so much of Randy Orton that I just never let kind of settle in and kind of really get down into the fibers of who I am as a wrestling fan. that I'm a little upset that it took me till 2023 to realize and openly admit that I am a big fan of Randy Orton. And now here we are. We're headed towards a showdown with Roman Reigns, which I'm actually excited for. Typically, I'm not that excited for Roman Reigns matches because they're kind of fixed. We know Randy's not going to win, but I'm excited seeing what does Roman have to do to deal with somebody like, Randy Orton. What are the steps he has to take? But what I'm more excited about now is what's after that. Once we get that out of the way, what's next? If Randy Orton really plans to wrestle for 10 more years, that means we're just in the heart of this. We're in the middle of this man's career. There are 10 more years ahead of us where this man could do it at a high level. And I guess I missed out. I didn't fall in love with Riddle and Randy Orton. I didn't fall in love with Legacy. I didn't fall in love with Evolution. But I think this newest version of Randy Orton has my attention. So I'm genuinely excited to find out what is next. But I believe genuinely I owe Randy Orton an apology for being so blind to how great of a professional wrestler he actually is. And I just wanted to get that off of my chest on this week's episode. Let's see what's left to talk about, and then let's get out of here.